What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Paul.
My name is Justin, and who else do we have on the show today?
We have our man Sam again.
Hi, boys.
Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Welcome back. I guess basically our third host.
What is this? 6 or 7 now, Sam?
No, this is a lot more than that.
I don't even know. It's our start sick guy. You have him come on every single week when we, I guess, need him. Not really. He's a part of our show now. I like to consider him part of our show. You guys are new. Right, we do 3 episodes a week. We have a start sit episode, which we're recording right now. We have a waiver wire in the beginning of the week, and then we have a weekend review with trade targets, which we just did with Peter Howard. So go check that episode out. That was our most recent one. And if you guys are new, please subscribe. We have, like I said, 3 episodes coming every week. And you can follow me on Twitter at JustinFSFF, the podcast Twitter at FatherSonFF. And then, Sam, where can they find you?
At FF Stompy. You can find my work at F3Pod, at IDP Guys, at FF_Authority, which is where I do the start sits every week. And then doing some stuff with at Sports_Saber. And may as well go into a spiel here. For listeners of Father-Son Fantasy Football, you get 15% off at sportsabermetrics.net when you sign up for the premium tools. If you use the code FSFF, all lowercase. So go sign up at sportsabermetrics.net and use the code FSFF.
That's right, guys. Sign up and save some money and make some money at the same time.
Yeah, we like winning money. I don't know how I'm going to do in DFS this week. I hope it's more than $8, and then I hope Sam gets more than $7. We'll take profit.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Sometime I got to build up. I got to build up here. So I got to be like, okay, we're going to get a little bit more bold. Like this week, might start Trenton Cannon. Might do it as that 1% owner. Told you to start. What was the tight end last week?
Chris Herndon.
Chris Herndon. Told you to start him. Owned in 0.1% of lineups last week on FanDuel.
Hey, these are the guys that are going to help you get above all the rest of the pack in the public, I guess you could say, because they're not going to go after the Chris Herndons, the Trenton Cannons in the world. They're going to go after the Isaiah Crowells or the Jimmy Graham. Why would someone want to choose Jimmy Graham, though? I don't even know about that. But we're going to get into the starts of the episode. We're going to start with running backs right now. So, Dad, I just made fun of your guy. So we're going to go running backs, though. So give me your guy this week. Who are you starting at running back?
Well, I'm going to stick with the hot hand, and Philip Lindsay. Lindsay is going to be my guy again, especially with Royce Freeman. I think he's not going to be playing this week, so he could have his biggest output of the year right here. I mean, he's been consistently good all season, even sharing a backfield with Freeman. He's had at least 11 PPR points in 6 or 7 games. The only game he didn't do that in is the stupid game where he threw a punch.
The stupid game, wow.
Where he got ejected.
No, legendary stats right there. He's got his teammates on his back.
Yeah, I mean, and the Chiefs are terrible against the run. The Chiefs are a great team, but against the run, they've allowed 11 running backs to either score or gain 90 total yards. So you should start Lindsay in all leagues, especially if Freeman is out.
Start him up. We're primarily a redraft PPR league, so if you're thinking PPR, we love Lindsay, especially because he's a pass-catching back too. But even in standard, I think you start him because Royce Freeman probably not going to play this week, like my dad said, and the volume is there. Sam, you agree with Lindsay? I think you got it. I mean, it's almost like
he's a Denver fan. He's got to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're setting him regardless. They did show up last week in terms of defense, the Chiefs against Dalton and the Bengals, but and I think I heard Peter mention this argument on yesterday's podcast that John Bosch made the argument that Marvin Lewis is a terrible coach and just doesn't prepare them well for prime time. So,
yeah.
I would expect that they lean heavily on Lindsay. Hopefully they learn from the Arizona Cardinals win, and they need to take the ball out of Keenum's hands as much as possible, lean on the defense and the run game. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
There it is. So who's your start, Sam? Who are you looking for a running back this week? I know you mentioned Trenton Cannon. I like him this week too, but someone other than him for the viewers.
All right. Well, I'm gonna skip over Mostert this week just because he's kind of been the darling of fantasy Twitter. But you need to start him against the Cardinals, especially if Matt Breda doesn't play. So I'm gonna go with Marlon Mack.
Yes, Sam.
Well, so I have Lamar Miller tonight, so I'm not going to really talk about him, but he's got a decent matchup against the Dolphins. So hopefully you started him tonight, or on Thursday night. But I like Marlon Mack this week against the Raiders. So I'll let Paulie. I'm gonna mention Marlon Mack's stats from last week. So he had 126 yards on the ground, 2 receptions for 33 yards, and two total touchdowns.
Awesome.
And I had him as a sit. Paulie and I had a bet of Nyheim Hines versus Marlon Mack, and I lost that very handily. So I can't even find
the stats for Hines, to tell you the truth.
He did decent. They just didn't throw him the ball, but they didn't throw the ball a lot because Luck only had like 180 some
it was like 23 attempts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that was a low throwing game for him.
It was an ugly game, but anyway. So he's got another good matchup in Week 8 against the Raiders. Raiders defense has allowed the 6th most rushing yards per game, allowing the 4th most fantasy points per game. They also just traded arguably their best skill position player in Amari Cooper, and then they placed Marshawn Lynch on IR. So that offense is going to be atrocious. I would expect the Colts to have positive game script in the entire game, which means probably in the second half they're going to lean on Marlon Mack to kind of close that game out. So I think he's going to get a ton of volume as well.
I agree.
I like volume, and I don't like Marlon Mack, but I do like fantasy points. And I think if you want fantasy points, you got to put Marlon Mack in your lineup this week. My guy, I was gonna go with the muscle hamster, the little return to Doug Mara and get, but I'm not gonna. Why would I do that? Exactly, it's gross. We don't like gross here. We like interesting, and I like someone named Jalen Richard this week against Indianapolis. So opposite side of the ball of Marlon Mack. Jalen Richard before the bye week was 7th in the league in running back targets. You take away Amari Cooper, the team is just awful. I see a lot of dump downs to Jalen Richard in the game they're going to be behind in because Indianapolis' defense is surprisingly getting a lot more sacks than people think. You saw that last week against Buffalo. So Raiders are going to be behind this game, and they're going to be forced to dump down a lot. And Jalen Richard is going to give you at least 10 fantasy points this week in PPR leagues with, I'm saying, 4 catches. I'm taking the over. That's fine.
I think Richard's a buy right now for the rest of the season because I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot and playing catch up. So Richard has gotten, I think he had 9 catches the first week. He had 7 catches last week. So, and I think he's had games of 5 and 6 catches as well. So I think you're going to see those go up. Plus his carries probably go up a little bit too.
Yeah. One thing on his carries, he's had no more than 5 carries in a game this year.
And, I don't care.
I'm just saying. I mean, I know Lynch is out, and it's time for him to step up. But I'm just giving you a stat right now.
I think Doug Martin takes about 15 carries a game. I'm saying Richard gets all the catches, and that's what I like to see.
Yep, and he's never been above 9 carries in a game in his 3-year career. But his role should expand going forward.
Yeah, so in PPR, he's definitely a buy for the rest of the season.
Yes. Dad, who is your sit at running back this week? Don't say who I think you're going to say. If you say who I think you're going to say, we're going to have some problems, and I hope it's not. Don't say it. Don't say. I mean, if it's a good running back, we're talking like one of the in the first 2 rounds he was drafted in fantasy this year. If you're saying his name, I may just end this call on this podcast.
You're not going to end it because we're going to make some bets and you're going to keep losing. So anyway, on that note, you're going to sit a couple guys. The biggest sit, and I'm not going to go into him, I think, is Carlos Hyde because he's going to a new team.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to get the reps
Yeldon season still.
I'm sitting both of them this week.
If you had to play one, though, who are you choosing?
It'd be Yeldon, but I don't like it's a terrible matchup against the Eagles.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, that one outlier game against Saquon, but.
My sit is going to be Duke Johnson.
Dude. All right. People could be like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's Chubb time, okay? Chubb's in there now. It's his time. Even though Duke Johnson has some value in the passing game, he had a disappointing game in week 7. It was their first game without Carlos Hyde, so you should have expected a little more from him, and that didn't happen. He had just 1 carry for -4 yards, as well as 4 catches for 23 yards. While Chubb is expected to get all the heavy workload, I still think Duke Johnson's got some value in the passing game. But until I see it, I'm going to sit him.
I like that. So, Sam, who's your
plus?
sit?
Plus, they're going against Pittsburgh, and their defense is improving. So
I want to talk on that. I think it might be a Duke Johnson week, actually. And the only reason is because, like you said, Pittsburgh's defense is improving. They're getting better against running backs. Let's look at the last 3 weeks here.
I see a Chubb Johnson bet coming on.
Oh, I'm not gonna bet against Chubb.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh the last 3 weeks has allowed the 6th least points to running backs. They've only allowed 114 yards in the 2 games. So
they're good against the run, Pittsburgh.
Right. And they have a very high-powered offense. So I would think that Duke Johnson might actually get some targets here because the Browns will be playing catch-up. That's the argument. I don't.
A good argument. I like that argument. It's a good argument, though.
I don't love it, but I can definitely see why somebody would play Duke Johnson this week.
Gotcha. I like it. So, Sam, who is your sit?
All of my sits are like pairs of running backs. So I don't like the Minnesota running backs. I don't like the Jacksonville running backs this week, and I don't like the Packers running backs this week. I'll talk about the Packers real quick. And I think it's pretty straightforward. Mike McCarthy sucks as a coach.
Oh yeah, bad. He's saved by Aaron Rodgers. It's disgusting.
But the snap share since Aaron Rodgers Aaron Jones has come back from suspension, the snap share has been Jamal Williams 40%, Ty Montgomery 32%, and Jones 29%, despite Jones being the far more effective runner. But the Rams have been relatively good against the run. They've allowed the 11th fewest fantasy points to running backs. And that I mean that's not the only reason they won't be able to run the ball. They're you're probably talking about the Rams being the highest powered offense in the league. So they're probably going to go up early, and they're going to have to rely on Rodgers once again to keep them in the game. So they're going to be throwing a lot. I would be playing the wide receivers and tight end Jimmy Graham for the Packers, but I would not be starting the Packers running backs unless you have to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm good with that.
My sit is going to be, I guess we'll do I'll hop on the train with you and do like the tandem of running backs that we're going to sit. And that's going to be Philadelphia's running backs. Don't like them at all this week. Wendell Smallwood, Corey Clement. It was a complete disaster last week against Carolina. They used Josh Adams, Clement, and Smallwood. Not good. 21 carries combined for 55 yards. No touchdowns. I don't see that. The Jaguars, they have allowed big games to running backs, but I don't want to play them in London. I don't like London games for fantasy production unless it's the Saints versus the Dolphins like last year. So I'm sitting these running backs and not touching them with a 10-foot pole this week.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm not. I don't like this game at all for fantasy purposes, just because it's 2 decent defenses. I think at some point Jacksonville's going to come back and like actually do something on defense. So I don't. The only two I really like this week for them, and I don't even know if I like Alshon Jeffrey, but I don't think you can sit Alshon Jeffrey, and then Zach Ertz. Yeah. Other than that, I'm not really touching anybody in this game.
I'm excited when Sproles comes back. He could be back this week or next week. I'm excited to see how they're going to use him because I think he's going to be better value than some of the options in that backfield too.
I can see that too.
Yeah, Dad. What running back do you like?
I'd like to see that because I picked them up. How's that?
Hey, Dad.
Yes.
What running back do you like?
Philip Lindsay. All day, all night.
You have him as top 10.
I said that about Golden Tate last week, and that was a bad move.
I even titled the podcast, dude. I even titled after your pick. I titled the podcast "Golden Tate Smash Week," and he smashed your fantasy team to a loss if you started him. Dude, you hurt me there.
Who would have thought Roberts was the guy there this week? With the 3-stud
it was easy to see, bro. Roberts was going to have the smash week. We all knew that. You just didn't.
Why not bet? You finally want to bet. You
dude. You pick
over Tate. You took Jarvis Landry over Tate, and you took Diggs over Tate, which was a tie. So you won 2 out of those 3. Okay, but the biggest stupid bet you made, you lost. You said Justin will not lose any bets this week.
You did. I would like to second that bet this week and say I'm not losing any bets this week because it's not happening, dude. I'm not losing any bets this week to you, and we're gonna have at least 4. We're gonna have at least 4 bets today, and I'm not gonna lose any bets to you, dude.
Well, you're trying to rebound. I understand.
No, I'm just gonna crush you this week, so next week I can come on the podcast and just have all the fame and all the glory. I've been having a few rough weeks here. So, Dad, I'm gonna say, who do you want? I'll say Tariq Cohen outscores Philip Lindsay.
All right, put it on the table.
I'll also say James White outscores Philip Lindsay. I don't know if you feel that.
I'm not doing that one.
Oh, David Johnson outscores Philip Lindsay.
No, because he's due to break out sooner or later. All right, enough with trying to steer me.
All right, who's your wide receiver start? Who's your wide receiver start?
Hang on, I gotta write this. Okay, my wide receiver start is
Adam Thielen.
No other than
I was right about
Nelson.
that last week. Oh, Jordy Nelson, boo.
Listen, with Amari Cooper gone,
Blech.
Jordy Nelson is now the number one in that offense.
That's
Even
gross.
though the offense is going to be terrible.
That's gross.
You should see an uptick in targets. He's had 3 games with at least 14 PPR points. And in 2 of those games, he had at least 8 targets. I see them targets. He's not going to go lower than 8 targets a game now that Cooper's gone. And the Colts have struggled all year long with the number 1 wide receivers such as A.J. Green, Hopkins, and Gordon. Now, I'm not saying Nelson at this point in his career isn't the same caliber as those guys, because that's definitely not where he is at this point. But moving forward, he can still be very successful in the new role he's got with Amari Cooper gone. So I think if you have Jordy Nelson, you're starting him.
Don't forget about Brandon LaFell.
Yeah, I know.
Another 31-year-old. I mean, all right. I mean, sure. I mean, I guess you could start Nelson. I mean, the math makes sense.
I mean, it's a bold move because their offense is terrible, but I like him this week.
All right, who's your start, Sam? Let's see if we can get something different here.
All right, so I have another guy in Thursday night's game, Danny Amendola. Like I said, I think he could approach 20 targets this week, but hopefully you started him. But for the Sunday games, I like Doug Baldwin against the Detroit Lions.
I like that.
He's seemingly back to health. We saw his in week 5. He had that 88% snap share, but only had 1 target. But last week, or not last week, but in week 6, he received 8 targets, caught 6 for 91 yards. So they're coming off the bye. I would expect him to be more integral to the offense now. And then the Lions, they've allowed the most fantasy points to wide receivers over the past 3 weeks. They've been susceptible to big games by slot receivers. So Quincy Enunwa, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola all had big games against them. Baldwin is playing over 54% of his snaps from the slot. So, and Detroit just got Snacks Harrison from the New York Giants.
I'm not talking about that trade for a 5th-round pick. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, my God.
Arguably the best run stuffer in the game for a 5th-round pick. But so they may not be near as susceptible to the run with Snacks Harrison in the middle there and Dejon Hand on the outside and Ezekiel Ansah. So maybe they have to go away from the run a little bit. I still think that Carson's a decent play this week, but maybe not nearly as attractive now with Snacks Harrison in the middle there. So I think Baldwin's a good start this week.
I like it. Dad, you like it?
I like that because the Lions have struggled with slot receivers all year. But I like that pick.
My God.
Even though I'm not a big Doug Baldwin fan, but with Detroit struggling against the slot receiver, you can start him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I think both Tyler Lockett and him are startable this week. I do think Baldwin's going to do better. Hopefully he's back more healthy than he was previous weeks. My guy, Dad, the guy who's let me down over and over and over again this year. I'm whipping it out, bro. It's happening.
Get it out. Oh, gosh. Here it comes.
He's going to have
Hold on. So I think that's cheating.
But I am hurt by this. I'll give you another one. But this guy, I'm saying, is going to be top 5 wide receiver this week. I
knew something was on under that sweatshirt.
Hey, we love Diggs. Diggs is going to go off this week. He's going to have the Minneapolis Miracle Part 2. He's going to have 100-plus yards and a touchdown this week. I can book it. I don't even care. Primetime game. He's going to go off.
I'll take that bet and say he doesn't.
I'm not going to take it. I'm saying he's going to be top 5 wide receiver. I'll do both of them. I'll say he's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown, and he's going to be top 5 this week. I don't even care. Book it. Watch Danny Amendola have more points than him. I don't even care.
You're going to do that double bet?
I don't care. He's going off. Both him and Thielen are going to be top 5 this week. I don't care.
I do have in one of my DFS lineups a Cousins Thielen Diggs stack. I love that game this week.
We love Diggs. I'm just gonna give myself. Hold on, I'm giving myself the correct answer sound effect right now. It's happening. I don't even care. It just happened. I just got Diggs top 5 locked in. 2 bets, 1 right there. Easy money.
And sure, Kenyon Drake just scores a touchdown.
All right, guys. So this just
He's on my bench.
Yep, mine also.
If my dad wants to sit someone like Kenyon Drake or Demaryius Thomas, you start him that week. That's what happens. But
nobody's starting Drake. Lamar Miller has 1 carry for 1 yard. That's neat.
Yeah,
I'm taking both of them bets just so you know.
No, it's easy. Easy money.
You said
I will say
Diggs top 5. Diggs 100 yards.
I'll say Diggs outscores Odell Beckham this week too. I don't even care. I'm saying it.
What is wrong with you?
You take that bet too?
You're gonna make a fool of yourself.
Diggs outscores. Yeah, just put it. Diggs outscores Devontae Adams too. Yeah.
Why don't you just say the going. Field?
No, because there's gonna be guys that score more than him, like AJ Green this week.
All right, move on.
Who's your all right? That's my wide receiver star. If you guys want me to go a deep little sleeper, I'll throw out Taylor Gabriel against the Jets this week. I think he's gonna have a bounce back week with his down week last week, I guess you would say. But who's your wide receiver? Who's your sit, Dad? Who's your sit? Don't say Diggs. You say Diggs, I'm walking out of this room. Don't say it.
Do it.
Taylor Gabriel is my sit. The guy you just said a sneaky stuff.
What? Oh no!
I think he's headed for a downturn.
Oh my gosh!
Now that Anthony Miller is healthy and back,
I love it.
He only had 4 targets in Week 4 against New England for just 3 catches on 26, and Miller led Chicago's receivers in targets with 7 back then.
And air yards.
If you do your rewind clock, so his targets were up in Week 3 at Arizona with 10. Week 4 against Tampa, he had 7. With Miller either hurt or out. So when Miller's been healthy, Gabriel has 1 game with double digits in PPR points, which is Week 6 at Miami. So that's not saying much. So he's my sit of the week. He's on the bench, Justin.
Start him. Top 36. I mean, if you're going for, I'm not saying start him over like guys like Brandon Cooks or like Robert Woods or any of those guys. I'm just saying if you're hurting for bye weeks because Julio's on bye this week and you went wide receiver in the beginning of the draft and only have 2, you're missing 1. I say throw Gabriel in there for a good at least 8-point outing. Hopefully,
I'm just saying with Miller back and being healthy, it's taking some targets away from what he's done.
So this means start Trubisky. I like it. Who is gonna be the sit for you, Sam? I'm not even gonna go into about this Taylor Gabriel rant because it's just Taylor Gabriel.
This is gonna get some people hot. I think.
Oh,
don't say it.
Josh Gordon, Buffalo Bills.
We don't like the Patriots. We hate the Patriots. And if any Patriots fans are listening, which I know there are, yeah, sit Josh Gordon. He's awful. I mean, this guy.
I'm not saying he's awful.
He got gassed. He got gassed on that run he had. He could have had a touchdown. This dude slowed down. Like I could run faster than him at that point. And I'm not that fast.
Yeah. All right. So he had a breakout last week. Had 100 yards, but Gronk was out. Michelle went down with an injury. It's hard to say whether that was the reason, but he does face one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Tre'Davious White this week. The Bills' defense has allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers and the 6th fewest receiving yards. I actually had the Colts wide receivers as sits last week. I took the loss on it only because T.Y. Hilton had the 2 short touchdown catches. Other than that, they actually shut down the passing game pretty well.
Actually, I actually like the Bills this week at home, big time underdogs.
Oh,
I can see that.
We're gonna add that segment in, Dad. We're gonna add in like my dad's pick'em of the week because my dad somehow is actually good at pick'ems and not at fantasy football. So we're gonna have him have his little tiny spotlight.
One pick'em league. Last year I won the whole pick'em league. I won over $1,000 at the end of the year.
Okay, well,
I do really good with pick'em against the spread. This week in that same league, I'm in 2nd place, out by 1 game. In another league I'm in, I'm winning by 7 games, which I don't understand that at all. I'm 7 games ahead of everybody else with the same picks I have in the other league. So,
and I'm like 2 spots ahead of you in rankings in fantasy, dude. I mean, I can go to the league settings. I'll go to the league standings. I'll go to not that league. They don't.
No, you don't want to talk about the bag.
Shout out to Dalvin Cook. Shout out to Dalvin Cook for not playing a game.
You just want to talk about the league.
You get that hammy right.
How about your league, your home league? Where are you there in your own league?
I'm at dead last.
we have
I'm holding down that 12. I am holding down that 12 spot like it's my job.
You're holding it down. You said it, dead last.
Yeah, that's what happens
so
when you take 2 running backs early and go wide receiver. I mean,
don't talk about my fantasy teams because you haven't beat me yet this year.
Favorite thing to be on every week. I love the banter.
Bro,
you haven't beat me yet this year, have you?
I'll see you in the playoffs.
You're not even going to see me in the playoffs in your home league.
I mean,
you better start making some.
I have to win.
Making some crazy trades.
I can't. I have no one to trade away. They're all so lows. I'm not gonna. I mean, it's bad. It's not a good case. I have to win 4 out of my next 6 games to have a chance at the playoffs. But if I get the playoffs, you're done.
What am I gonna look out?
I'll have Dalvin Cook back. Dalvin Cook's coming back week 11.
Scoring points now.
I am not scoring any points. My flex is like okay. All
right. So Josh Gordon, sit him.
Sit Josh Gordon. My sit is gonna be. I was gonna say Mike Evans. I think it's a little down week from him. I think it's gonna be an Adam Humphrey. I'll say Mike Evans is a set. I think Mike Evans. People are gonna start him expecting a top 12 performance. I say he finishes outside top 12. Cincinnati, they don't know how to play in prime time, but they're gonna know how to guard Mike Evans. And this guy just falls down after the catch. So sure, he'll have like 8 points or something like that. I'm not saying he's gonna have 0. I just think that you're better off starting Deshaun Jackson for hopefully a long touchdown like beginning of the season, or an Adam Humphries who's gonna have a sneaky 5+ catch game. So I'm sitting Mike Evans if you have the depth to do it, and if you want to play someone else in your flex. Like say you have Emmanuel Sanders or Robert Woods, it's possible because those guys went middle round in drafts. I'd start those guys over Mike Evans. I'd even start Tyler Boyd over Mike Evans. So I'm rolling with that. Now,
okay,
we're going to the streaming positions. We're going to try to fly through these. Dad, QB starts and sits. Give me your start. Give me your sit right away. Let's try to do both at once. Hammer them down.
My start of the week, I'm going to stay with the hot guy I've been staying with the last 2 weeks. That's Jameis Winston.
Jameson. You always got to say Jameson. Come on.
I know. I said it right this time, just so it would win. Look, he didn't have a great game in Week 7 against Cleveland. He did throw for 365 yards, but he turned the ball over 3 times. He had 2 interceptions, a fumble. He didn't throw for a touchdown. So now that's 5 of 6 games this season where Tampa Bay's quarterbacks have passed for at least that many yards. And the high volume attack should continue to help Winston, including this week against Cincinnati. So that'll be my start of the week.
Yeah, fair enough. Who'd you sit that?
Sit of the week. Eli Manning come off a big game. You're sitting him this week at Washington.
Eli,
I think the Giants are home.
Awful.
Quote unquote big game.
Yeah. Well, he did throw for a lot of yards, even though the Giants suck. We're not going to get into that. We already got into that a couple episodes ago.
Yes, last episode. I mean, oh my gosh.
The offensive line there is terrible, but
yeah, I mean it's self-explanatory, dude. They're just not good on offense. Eli just doesn't know what to do with the ball. He's just like, oh, I got sacked, whatever. I don't like him. Put Laletta in. I know I said last episode keep Manning in, just lose all the time, but I mean we're gonna still lose if you have Laletta in that offensive line. I have a conspiracy theory with Nate Solder. He's angry. He's angry that the Giants beat him in the bowl twice, and he's purposely not playing up to his best because he is the weak point in the offensive line. You watch all these films, he gets beat every single time. It's just annoying. He spent all that money for a guy who's on the Pats, and he just purposely signs for the money and screwing our team over, dude.
I know. I hear you.
It's awful. All right,
maybe
Sam.
we'll get a quarterback in this year's draft.
Yeah, there's no one really available, but we'll see it. Sam, who's your QB starts and sits?
Hey, you got to tank and get a old Air Bear. Give me some Herbert. I like Russ this week against the Lions. Like I said, they might have to go away from the run a little bit. But the Lions have struggled, like I said, in the against the pass last few weeks. They're ranked 28th in DVOA against the pass over the last 3 games. They've allowed the 5th most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. 2 of 3 of those were against the Cowboys' Dak Prescott, and Dolphins' Brock Osweiler. And let's be real, Russ is a lot better than both of them.
Oh, whoa. Don't insult my man, Brock.
Oh, get out of here with
I like the meme. Brocktober. It's happening. He's going to win this game by 20+ tonight. You watch. He's going to go off. He's already up 7-0.
Your boy Lamar Miller just tied the game up.
Oh, my gosh.
Ooh. So
he also had a big run before that too, Sam. So
I hope you were starting him and read my article because guess what? He's in my starts list.
You guys like that. Yeah, people gotta read that article because I don't know how you're doing it, Sam. But props to you for getting like 75% plus right past 3.
Yep,
4
you're
weeks.
doing good, Sam.
57% plus right the last 5 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, I'll take that. It's better than mine. I think I'm like 5%. So good job.
I know your win ratio is about 5%.
Ooh. God, I love the banter on this. This is honestly one of the highlights of my week is coming on this podcast.
It's like one of the worst moments of my week coming on this podcast. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm supposed to be smarter than my dad.
From now on, Sam's just got to come on and have popcorn. Just gotta watch.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun with this now. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. All right. So in the same game, here's the surprise sit.
Oh no, Dad, he's gonna call you guy.
I'm going to sit Matt Stafford against the Seahawks.
Now, my dad loves Matthew Stafford. He'll tell you a story about Matthew Stafford. Oh, not this week, but
I do too. I was one of the guys that was on that train of Matthew Stafford's underrated, but this is far one of his worst seasons to date. And it's not necessarily because he's playing bad. It's because the opportunities aren't there. And I think that's a good thing in terms of the Lions offense because they're actually running the ball very well, especially the last 3 weeks. Right. And that means that Stafford's opportunities to throw the ball are down. So over the past 3 weeks, Stafford ranks as the QB 22 in fantasy points per game. He's also the QB 20 for the season. And I wrote, not coincidentally, rookie running back Kerryon Johnson ranks as the RB 15 in fantasy points per game and has the 5th most rushing yards in the same time span over those 3 games. So I think it's good in real life football, just not great for Stafford owners.
Yeah.
Seattle's defense is getting better and better each week also.
Right. So they rank 3rd overall in DVOA against the run. Against the pass. They've allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks, allowing less than 15 points 3 weeks and less than 30 in all 6. So this likely turns into a running game. I like Russ just because I think they're going to have to throw a little bit, but yeah, I don't love the passing game for the Lions this week.
I agree. I think Kenny Galladay can have a bounce back game, even with Stafford underperforming. No, you're not saying it. Really?
He faces Shaquille Griffin,
He's a beast.
He's quietly become a shutdown corner in the league.
I'll say Kenny Galladay outscores not any of your Denver receivers. I was gonna say over, but no. I mean, I don't even know. I'll say Kenny Galladay outscores Doug Baldwin. You want to make that little?
I'll take that bet.
I'll put it on the table.
That's your guy's first bet.
I feel like we had to start making bets with Sam. I feel like I'm always on his side, but it's happening because Kenny Galladay. Shout out to JJ Zachariason.
I love Kenny Galladay. I actually just traded Mike Evans. And maybe I talked about this last week, maybe not. I just traded Mike Evans and Dalvin Cook for Galladay, Kirk, and a 2019 first. So I love Galladay.
A lot of people don't like that trade he did, but I do. So. It's okay.
Oh no, yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like I love Galladay, but this week is just not the week for him.
Yeah, fair enough. I just put a headband on. You know what that means? It's Baker Mayfield season. I'm going 3 weeks back to back to back. It has to happen. You see, he's going against a great matchup this week. All right, I don't even care what anyone says. Baker Mayfield is in a prime spot to go off. He's going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's at Pittsburgh. Last week, he scored 20.9 fantasy points against the Bucs. The Steelers are 27th in QB average fantasy points allowed after giving 229-2 to Dalton, 285-1 to Matt Ryan, and 363-2 to Joe Flacco. He's going off this week. Start Josh Gordon. Wow. Start Jarvis Landry. Start David Njoku. Duke Johnson, we already talked about, kind of a sneaky little game. Baker Mayfield is going to be a good quarterback to start this week if you're streaming.
Winston will have more fantasy points than Baker Mayfield.
You are right. Good job. My sit.
Hold on. I'll defend Baker Mayfield last week. He actually did finish his QB 11. He didn't do terrible. He didn't explode. But Peter, again, on the last podcast, made the correct take that this is what you see when it's pure talent versus bad coaching.
Yeah, sure.
So once Hugh is gone, I would expect Baker Mayfield to become a superstar.
Yes, I think.
And this is coming from a guy that I didn't love Baker Mayfield.
Neither did my dad.
I didn't either, but I agree. He's very talented, and the coaching staff sucks there.
I will also say that
he does take a lot of sacks, though.
Yeah, but he throws the ball a lot.
Todd Haley's also not doing me a good coach. I read some stat. I forget what it was on Twitter today. It was just saying how bad he is, and they just got to clean house, I think. Because I don't like their defensive coordinator at all. He's doing well. I don't like him. Just him. I don't forget what's his name.
I don't think anybody likes Greg Williams.
He's a weird guy. His voice just pisses me off. If I was a player, I'd be like, I want to quit. I want to get traded right away. I'd go to the front office and be like, trade me to the Bills. I don't even care. All right, my sit this week. I was going to say Matt Stafford. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to say Carson Wentz, Jacksonville. We already said don't start anyone in this game.
I like that.
It's a little sneaky one. People like Wentz. I like Wentz as a player. I like his personality. He's a good guy and all, but this week he's not a good guy to start in fantasy. Benching him, starting Winston over him, starting Dalton over him, starting Baker Mayfield over him. That's what I'm doing. Doubling down that. Dad, you like Winston. I like Winston too, but I'll try to make a bet for Winston. Any other quarterback you like? Because I actually like Winston to be top 6 this week. So, anyone else you like that? See anyone that like Tom Brady? I'll put the bet on Tom Brady. I don't like Tom Brady this week because they're gonna be
Drew Brees. I'll take Drew Brees every week.
Am I doing it again? I gotta go. Headband Brothers, Mahomes again over Drew Brees.
No, you just said Baker Mayfield.
No, Mahomes wears like this little. I don't have the brand. I'm getting one of those headbands. I'll have it next week. You watch out for that. But
that's a crazy bet for me
because the all-time leader in passing yards versus a rookie quarterback.
I'm gonna take Drew Brees, even though I don't think it's a smart bet by me, but I'm gonna take the shot. I'll take Drew Brees has more fantasy points than Mahomes.
I'll also give you Kirk Cousins.
Right. I don't want Kirk Cousins.
I'll take Kirk Cousins
and Drew Brees.
Whoa! What are you gonna do?
No, I'll take Kirk Cousins. Say he outscores all 3 of them, or outscores Mahomes.
This is your
whoa. I like Kirk Cousins this week, so I'm a no.
I'll take it.
Oh,
I'll take it.
All right,
I'll take it. Well, I'll take it on the Mahomes because I have Cousins as 2.
Done. By the way, I'm going to see Mahomes live, and I don't.
You're going to the game this week?
I'm going to deal with it. Yes, I am.
All right. So what you got to do? I can't say this on the podcast. Never mind.
No, I'm saying Cousins over Mahomes.
Okay. What you gotta do is you gotta go to Target. You gotta find a Kermit the Frog stuffed animal. You gotta bring it and just hold it up during the game. Every time, just do like in the front row. You'll get on TV.
I like that. That's great.
All right,
you better hope Mahomes has a good week, Justin, because you just made 2 bets.
I like it. All right, we're gonna try to finish this tight end section in 5 minutes. Tight ends are awful. Sam, you get it first. Give us your start sit of the week. Jimmy Graham's a sit, right?
I'm never sitting Jimmy Graham.
You're not sitting.
I'm not sitting Jimmy Graham either, Dad. I like him this week. I have him in DraftKings. All right, so who's your starter sit this week? Sam?
Benjamin Watson.
Ooh,
yes, I like that.
I think he has back-to-back good games this year. So he comes up for air once in a while, and then he dips back under the water. But he plays the Vikings this week, who allowed a touchdown and 40-some-odd yards to – who was it again? Who's the Jets tight end that I told everybody to start?
The guy who was like 0.1% owned, that guy?
0.1% owned.
Yeah, that guy.
What was his name?
Chris Herndon, I think, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. And he actually might be a decent start this week, too.
Don't take my guy.
All right. So, yeah, I like Watson this week against the Vikings. Herndon got a TE9 finish last week. They ranked 27th in DVOA against tight ends in coverage. They've allowed the 6th most fantasy points per game to tight ends and the fourth most yards. This is going to be a battle of high-powered offenses. The over-unders for the game is 53. I'm going to take the over on that. I actually might place an actual bet this year on that because I'm going to take the way over.
I don't even get to watch the full game. I'm so mad about that.
Yeah, so I'm really taking. I think there's just going to be a ton of scoring, and I think Watson gets in on that action.
A lot of scoring with Diggs. Yes,
and Thielen,
and Cousins, and Dalvin Cook will be watching from the sideline, resting his hand. Who's your tight end sit this week, Sam?
Kyle Rudolph.
I like that.
Yep.
There's one guy I think is not going to do crap this game. It's going to be Kyle.
He's actually a bust.
He's actually been super disappointing this year. He's only TE 14. I think he was taking his TE 8 in drafts this year. But I think a lot of it has to do with Kirk Cousins targeting Thielen and Diggs as at the 1st and 6th most times in the league, respectively. So that's why I'm stacking Cousins with Thielen and Diggs this week. But The Saints allow the second fewest fantasy points to tight ends. They rank 7th in DVOA against tight ends. They allow the fewest receiving yards and have only allowed 1 touchdown to tight ends this week. Meanwhile, they rank 30th in DVOA against the pass, 32nd against opposing teams' wide receiver 1s and wide receiver 2s. So Thielen and Diggs are probably going to have big games. Rudolph is not.
Oh, the biggest games. Dad, who?
No, the biggest games.
Who's your?
That's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game.
I don't get to watch it all. I have my flag football game at like 10:30, so I get to watch the first half and then go play that. It's fun.
I'm driving home from Kansas City.
Yeah,
so.
You get the radio. You get to hear that Minneapolis Miracle Part 2. It's going to happen. He's going to have a 60-yard touchdown. Right. Not putting the bet on that, but it's going to happen.
Okay.
Dad, who's your tight end start sit?
I'm going to go with a guy besides all your regulars. I'm going to take Vance McDonald this week.
Not Jimmy Graham.
Versus Cleveland.
Wow.
No, you're starting Jimmy Graham no matter what. So this is somebody different now. He's now scored at least 9 PPR points in 3 of the last 4 games, including his last 2 outings with at least 13 points. He's had 1 game with more than 5 targets, but I think he's going to get more than 5 targets this game, and I'm starting him this week.
I like that. Who's your sit, Dad?
It was Rudolph. Rudolph was actually my buster.
You can double down on that. I'm okay.
I'll give you another guy. You're going to sit Jordan Reed. I love Jordan Reed. He's staying healthy, but he really hasn't done it. He hasn't had a breakout game yet. I mean, he's getting targets, but he's not getting any points. So I'm going to sit him again until I see something more from him.
I like that. All right, my start and sit. Start is going to be C.J. Uzomah. He only had 2 targets last week, but he's had 17 catches on 19 targets this year. It was against the Chiefs last week, so it was disappointing. But this week's against Tampa Bay. He gets the 2 worst defenses back-to-back. I think he's going to bounce back in this game. And I like Ben Watson. I like that pick right there. And Chris Herndon is also a sneaky start if you're really hurting and the waiver wire is really, really low. He still plays.
By the way, just to give people an idea of how bad the tight end landscape is this week or this year, CJ Uzomah only had 2 targets, had 13 yards and a touchdown. He finished as tight end 11 last week.
Oh my gosh.
Who's the number 1 tight end right now in football?
Kels.
No, I believe it's Ertz.
It's 1A, 1B right there. Yeah, Kels and Ertz are on a tear this year. Gronk isn't even doing that much.
Gronk's not even in the top 5.
So my sit is going to be not Gronk. It's going to be Evan Ingram. I don't like him this week against Washington. Like I said, Eli's struggling, and hopefully he feeds Odell like Pat Schumer wants him to, and Barkley. It's going to be a weird game, though. It's not going to be a fun game to watch for us Giants fans. Washington, surprisingly good this year, except for against the Saints when they wanted Drew Brees to have that record. I don't know what happened in that game. But, Dad, the bet I have for you, Njoku, more points to Jimmy Graham.
I'm going to take that bet. I cannot refuse a Jimmy Graham bet.
I'll put Burton over Jimmy Graham. I'll put George Kittle over Jimmy Graham. Those are the 3 guys I put over Jimmy Graham.
Don't get carried away now. We're doing the one you just
get out of here with Kittle.
Jimmy Graham over who? What was the first one?
It was Njoku.
That's actually a fair bet.
Njoku.
I'm not taking the other 2.
Hail to the Chief.
Hail to the Chief. Remember that mock draft. That's the one thing I remember. Njoku.
Listen, I want to make a bold statement right now. Jimmy Graham will get in the end zone this week.
All right. I like that.
Bold?
Will.
Because, wait, why is it bold, Dad? Is it because he hasn't scored that much this year?
He's only got 1 so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's weird. I said he's going to have 10 or less, and you're like, oh, he's going to have all the touchdowns in the world. What? 1 touchdown, that's it?
Don't make me go back to the last 3 weeks.
Dude, I don't care. I take the whole season bets. I'll hate the whole season bets.
You're not going to take the whole season's bet. If you actually look at them, I believe you're losing them.
Oh, also. Probably. It's okay.
Yeah, there's no probably about it. You're not having a good fantasy year, kid.
Ooh.
I can't. Okay, that's gonna do it. Before we get out of here, if you guys can go and use code FSFF over at thequantedge.com. They have all the tools you need. They have a lineup optimizer, wide receiver, cornerback matchups. You can see injury tools, see who's in and out, and how the team performs with those players in or out. You also get a premium membership chat, access to the articles, podcast, and the TQE community. So if you guys go over to quantedge.com, use code FSFF to save money today and edge up on those DFS competitors, sports bettors, and pros. They also have a new betting tool now, so people want to make those bets. You can go over there, use it. I think the guy who's running it, I forget his name, has got 57% success rate. Also like Sam on a start sit, ironically, but we like those.
Bet the over. Bet the over on Minnesota versus Saints.
And what's the pick, Dad? What's the pick, Dad? What was your pick of the week? The Bills. Right? I think it was the Bills.
That's not my pick of the week.
That's your upset of the week.
That was my upset of the week.
Who's your pick of the week for the viewers who want to do picks? I mean, I don't really have a pick of the week. I don't do pick'ems.
Give me talk about something. Let me get back to you in a minute.
I'll talk about something. All right, Sam. So we have a lot of bets this week.
Ready?
My dad wrote them all down.
You ready for some of my lineups this week? I'm going to tell you my stacks for DFS.
I'll tell you a stack after you tell a stack. Go ahead.
All right. So I have Jameis. I have Evans, actually. You don't like Evans. I like Evans. I have OJ. And I actually put Adam Humphries in there.
I have Adam Humphries in there. I like Adam Humphries. I'll see. My stack, I'm going with the Ram stack this week. I think it's going to be consistent in cash and GPP. I'm doing the Goff, Woods. You want to add Reynolds in there, go for it. Cheap option in GPPs. But if you're not doing GPPs, I'm taking Reynolds out and putting Humphries in there, actually, for a cheap play. And I'm also putting Gurley in there again. Give me another stack while my dad looks it up again.
I also have Baker, Jarvis, Njoku, which actually worked out pretty well for me last week.
Not for me. I had it, and I don't know why it didn't play so well. I think my other players just did awful, but I did. Those are the guys that scored points for me. I'll do another stack when my dad still looks for it, and I'm going to have to go on we'll go a cheaper stack, I guess. I will say he's not cheap at all. Oh, never mind. We're going a little expensive stack. We're going Mitch Trubisky. We're going Anthony Miller, Tariq Cohen. Throw in Taylor Gabriel if you want there. That's a GPP play, not a cash play. You're going to go cash, you're going to get wrecked if you do that. And it has to hit if it does hit, and I don't know if it will, but we don't know anything. We're just guessing. It's the future. So I want to see Anthony Miller, Mitch Trubisky stack winning the GPP this week. You watch. It's not going to be me, too, because I'm not going to play that. But I'll play a stack. I got to add more money to my account. I'm almost out of money.
Also, my final stack, and I said this, Cousins, Diggs, Thielen.
If you're doing
that's going to be the winner. And then if you throw, like, say, Trent Cannon in there as your, like, 1%er.
I think it's possible to do that stack with Cousins, Diggs, and Thielen, Cannon, and have Gurley in there, too. I think it's possible.
Let me look.
You got to go really low.
I don't think so because
it might be a little over budget.
You just got to. Your other guys are going to be dart throws. Like if Humphries, Reynolds, you're playing with that lineup too, and then you're playing a tight end and a cheap defense. Who's your favorite defense this week in DFS, Sam? I like to see yours.
I like the Colts.
Colts, yeah, they're up there in DK, but it's all right.
I mean, yeah, I don't usually spend up on defense, but this week I think I have to, just because I think Oakland's just gonna get run over.
I also like Christian Kirk as a sneaky start in DFS this week. He's cheap and he's been having the most whopper with Josh Rosen. Dad, you have your pick yet?
Yeah, I do.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give you a couple bonus.
Don't say the Rams over to Green Bay, dude. Don't say Rams over to Green Bay.
No, my pick of the week is Pittsburgh over Cleveland.
All right.
I also like the Saints this week. Now, 3 underdogs I really like this week. We just talked about
all your picks, dude.
No, I'm not. But I like big time underdogs this week. I love Buffalo. I like Green Bay, and I love Denver. With the points again. But the pick of the week is Pittsburgh over Cleveland.
Wow. I don't really do pick them, but I think that sounds good because somehow you're good at that. Like I said, I don't know.
We're
going to find out. This is the 1 week you're going to get them all wrong, and everyone's going to be like, wow, I thought you said this guy was good. And I'm like, yeah, it's my dad. I had the excuse, you know. But that's going to do it for today's this week's Start Sit episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A lot more banter than usual and in less time than usual, so I like to see that. We're going to go watch this Brocktober happen right now. Anything else you guys want to say, add in before we head out?
Texans are winning 14-7 right now.
Texans are winning 14-7. Sam, anything else you want to add?
Go check out sportsabermetrics.net. Use the code FS.
It cut out again. It was code FSF.
He froze
again. It's all right, though. We're going to take it out here, Dad.